to Home Built Workshop. Welcome to Wednesday Live. And by the way, Happy New Year. Welcome to 2022. It's going to take me, well, it's probably going to take me quite a while to get used to saying that. But we are here, we're in the new year, and it's going to be a good one. I'm excited for this year, excited to get into it, get things rolling. And I want to wish you guys all a Happy New Year. I hope you guys all had an amazing 2021, as challenging as it may have been. It was quite a year for sure, but it's now behind us. We're now into the new year, and I am really looking forward to seeing what this year has in store for all of us. It's going to be fun. I always kind of like the beginning of the year because it gets me thinking about shop stuff and kind of some things that I want to do and what sort of opportunities are in store for us all. So, yeah, let's get this party started, as they say. Donna's here. Donna says, good morning. Good morning, Donna. Happy New Year. How was your holidays, Christmas, New Year's, all that stuff? I hope it was awesome. I still can't believe that it's a new year already. Kind of crazy to think about, really. But like I said, I'm excited for it. It's going to be a good one, and can't wait to see what it brings. We got some hot coffee here this morning because, well, it's a little bit chilly. It's like 20 degrees outside. A little bit of snow flurries floating around out there, but I don't think it's supposed to really get too bad around here anyway. It's supposed to get up into the 40s, but right now I'm kind of bundled up for the long haul here. I got the got the overalls and the heavy coat and everything, but that's all right. We are warm enough. We're gonna hang out. It's gonna be fun, like always. Dastardly Dave's here. Sup all? What's up, Dave? How are you doing? How was your New Year's and Christmas? All that stuff. Lino's here. Says hello from Portugal. Hello, Lino. Happy New Year to you and everyone in Portugal. Harry Dude, what's up? Hello all. What's up, Harry Dude? How are things down there in the land of Oz? Happy New Year, everybody. Crazy. All right, so what are you guys working on? If you guys have any projects to kick off the new year? Anything in the works? I want to hear what you guys are working on. What sort of issues and questions and projects and all that good stuff, like we always do. I guess I'll kick it off. I'll go first. I am working on finishing up the edit for the finish video for the bass guitar. Finally got that to a point where I can wrap up that video and get that out. So I'm planning to have that video out this weekend. That's the plan. The customer has already seen it, so everything's okay for the moment anyway. And so I'm working on that. Hope to get that edit finished up probably by this afternoon. Get it all rendered and uploaded, and so you guys can tune into it this weekend. And then also on the bench is a bass guitar neck. Just doing a little bit of fine tuning, getting ready to bolt this thing onto the body soon. I've started with some of the cleanup and pre-assembly stuff on the bass guitar, and hopefully that thing will be coming together shortly. I'm way behind on where I want it to be. Told you guys I wanted to have it done by the end of the year. I didn't make it. That's okay. We're good. We're good. Just that was just a personal goal that I kind of gave myself. I wanted to have it done 2 months ago, really, but I had a bunch of issues with the finish. It was mistakes on my part, which I will cover in the video. So yeah, a little behind on that, but that's okay. We're going to get this thing done and get it moved on to its new home. Let's see here. Lino says, Happy New Year all. Right on, Lino. Hope you guys had an amazing New Year. I hope everybody had a New Year, and Happy New Year. Dastardly Dave says, Christmas with family. New Year's did sound for a band in Minnesota. got used to the minus 17 degrees. That's a little frosty. It is. We haven't had that yet here. We did hit like negative -0.4 the other day. That's about the coldest we've had so far. We don't typically get those super frigid temperatures where I live, anyway. For those of you that don't know, I'm in the state of Colorado, in the Colorado Springs area. It's not uncommon that we get below zero, but we don't typically. It's usually like a spike. I think, teens, single digits, that kind of thing. It doesn't get too cold here. Now, up in the mountains, that's a whole different story, but at least here, we don't have to deal with minus 17 all that much. Lino says, building classical guitars here. Oh, man, that's awesome. Cool. I've not ever built an acoustic. I think we've talked about this a little bit before. I've never built an acoustic, classical or steel string, but I keep getting challenged by friends that I should jump in and give it a try. Several people keep nudging me, saying, "Come on, give it a shot, go for it." So who knows what we'll end up with for this year? Maybe we'll attempt something. It may be like I don't know what it might be, a cardboard box with some strings. I don't know, but we'll see what happens in this coming year. I'm definitely not against it at all. I think it'd be really awesome to jump in and try that out. I've mainly done solid body electric guitars, but yeah, we might do that. James says, I'm looking to get a table saw. What should I look for in an entry-level one? Oh, that's a great question. Entry-level saws. Let me think about this for just a second. I would say, of course, you need to keep budget in mind, right? Everybody's got a certain amount that you can spend. So you got to work within your budget, whatever that is. Everybody's got a whole different set of requirements when it comes to that. So I would say don't just opt for the absolute cheapest one you can find. It may work, it may, you never really know. But try, if you can, try to not shop on just price alone. So with that out of the way, but I also understand that not everybody can go out and buy, a $3,000 saw stop or, something like that. And I totally understand that, and that's not my suggestion either. But I think what I would look for, I would say one of the main things is the fence system. You want one that has an accurate fence, so you can position it, lock it down. You can adjust it to make sure that it's square with the blade. The table saw that I have, it's getting pretty old. Is an old, not super old, but is a very inexpensive, really. It's an old Craftsman saw, and the fence system on that was horrible. And that was the first mistake. When I got this one, it was really almost the cheapest one I could find. And I thought, it's going to be fine, And yeah, it works. I've used it for, 15 years or something like that. I've used it for a really long time. But over time, I started to realize that the fence was horrible. It was really, really bad. And it was not square. It didn't maintain. It seemed like it was in a different spot every time you moved it, even if you locked it down at the same spot on the little ruler piece. So I did some modifications, and I ended up drilling and tapping and adding adjustment screws so that I can adjust, for the to keep it square. And I spent really quite a bit of time trying to get everything squared up that I shouldn't have had to do. Had I bought a little bit better saw, I could have got something that had a much better fence system. So I think that would probably be like my number one thing. Find one that has the ability, if you can, to be able to adjust the fence. You know, if you can spend a little bit more money, you know, buy the best one that you can afford, which that's what everybody says, right? But really, it is the case. Don't just opt for the cheapest one. I would say a good fence is number one, and also look for one that has the ability to install a zero clearance insert. My saw has some wonky shaped thing in there. They don't sell any sort of zero clearance inserts, and really to make one, I've tried several times to make one for my saw, and the way it sits in there is just, it's very strange. It like screws on one side, and there's not a lip or anything so I could make a new one for it to drop in. It just doesn't, it's really weird. And the ability to install a zero clearance insert, even if it's a homemade wooden one, maybe they don't sell one for it, but you can pull the original one out and make one to put in. I think that's pretty important as well. There's a lot of times where mine has a giant gap on one side, and really it's kind of dangerous because there's an opportunity for pretty good sized pieces of wood to drop down in the saw body, or you know, get pinched in the blade. And I've had pieces, you know, sail out of there a time or two. And if I could come up with a way, if I could have just easily put in a zero clearance, I think that's pretty important as well. Whether, you know, as far as power requirements, you know, they all rate them at like, you know, a horsepower or so many amps or something. I'm not convinced that that's as big a deal. But really, I think the fence and being able to put a zero clearance in, if I had those two things on my little cheapy saw, I think it would be so much better than what it is right now. You know, all those things, I'm sure it probably increased the price some, but those would be the things that come to mind right off the top of my head. Most of them have, you know, angle adjustments. You know, I don't know. I don't use mine too much, but I think the fence would be number one. Being able to add a zero clearance, even if it's a homemade one, would be number two. You know, other than that, everything else, if you can go above and beyond that with, you know, dust collection and all that sort of thing, I think those are kind of a bonus. But for entry level, that's what I would look for. Good fence and zero clearance, I think. If I think of something else, I'll throw it in later, but hopefully that helps. What about the rest of you guys? You guys have any other suggestions to add on to that? What would you look for if you were going to go buy a table saw? Throw it down there. Let's see if we can add a few suggestions for James. Mayor says, "Hello, Jeff. Last time I asked you about Shaper Origin, and I decided to buy it. That's great. Oh man, that's cool." Mayor says, "Cut neck blank or fingerboard is child's play." Oh, that's so cool. So a couple questions I have. Did you get the works? I've seen that work surface where it already has the grid laid out, and I think you clamp your piece in front of it or something like that. I haven't investigated that fully, but or do you actually have to put the sticker stuff on there? What did you go for on that? Because that thing is cool. For those of you, if you maybe haven't seen the Shaper Origin, it's basically a handheld CNC router. And there's some technology in there that is really awesome. And I didn't at first understand how it works, but after I learned a little bit more, it makes a whole lot more sense. So basically you put, if you're not familiar, just a quick overview, and I've never used one, so I'm no expert on it at all. But you have this grid of stickers. They have different symbols and stuff on there that the machine reads to get its location. And then as you move this around, there's a little screen on there and you're guiding your cut. At first, I didn't see how that would keep the machine cutting exactly where you want. What I didn't realize is that the bit actually will move. As you move it around your pattern, the bit moves around to stay on your line. I did not understand that at first, and that is way cool. I think there's a ton of opportunities for a machine like that. And if you get some time, go look it up. Shaper Origin. You know, I have no affiliation or anything with them. I've never used one or any of that, but it really does seem cool. The downside is they're a little bit pricey. So that is so cool that you got one. Now I wish you lived nearby and I would come over and try it out. So cool. Roaming Earth. Hello. Have you ever made a steam box for bending wood? Short answer is no, I haven't. But I've seen it done several times. As you know, if you browse the YouTubes a little bit, but I personally have not. The only time I ever bent some wood was a couple years ago. I was doing some repairs on a bass guitar for a friend of mine, and the neck pocket was all jacked up, and it was like super wide, and I needed some shims that I could basically make the entire pocket smaller. So I made some small strips of wood, and basically all I did was I took a cooking pot and that has a little steamer basket. You know, you can like steam broccoli or vegetables or something in there. And I put these pieces of wood in the steamer basket on the stove and just let it steam for a while. And I don't remember how long I let it sit, 10, 15 minutes, something like that. It got pretty pliable, and I was able to form it into the neck pocket, jam the neck in there, which held it in place, and let it dry. And it worked really good, but that's about the only experience I have with steam bending wood. James says, thanks for answering. I got some research to do. Right on. You're welcome, James. Hopefully that helps you some. And again, if you guys have suggestions, other things that James might keep in mind, make sure you leave those down there. Mara says, no, I made the workspace myself. Yeah, I don't see, I don't know. I'm sure the one that they sell is probably pretty cool, but no reason you can't just make your own. Robert says, table saw. Oh, good, some suggestions here. Micro adjustments, dado ability, ease of use on angle adjustments. Dado ability, that's another good one. And that is something that I'm sure I could install one on my saw. I've never done it. I don't know if it's got the power to really make big cuts. I'd have to make small passes. But yeah, if you, James, if you intend to use the dado stack, you know, you're going to want the ability to, make sure you got enough room in there. And again, that comes into play that you're going to want to be able to swap out that insert. You can put a different insert for the dado stack. Harry Dude says, for the table saw, I went with a 10-inch one on wheels for ease of movement when not needed. Fence clamps at both sides for table stability. Good call on the wheels. Yeah, James, that's a good one too. If you can see yourself moving it around, having a mobile base or something already on wheels might be really helpful. That is something that mine is not on wheels. I don't move it too much. I don't really have a whole lot of space to move it around to, but once in a while I need to scoot it over or shove it out a little bit if I'm making a longer cut, and it is kind of a drag. Literally. Nah. See what I did there? Oh boy. Anyway, if it was on wheels and I could just unlock a base or a couple of wheels and roll it, it would make things a little bit easier. I've often thought, a little bit of a tangent here, I have thought about maybe getting like a contractor kind of table saw, that has the stand, mainly for that purpose, so that you can move it around and stuff like that. I do like to move mine outside, well, when it's not 20 degrees out, but I like to move it outside, in the summertime and make cuts, a lot less cleanup, and it's just easier. The lighting's good, and having it on wheels would be a lot easier to do. So good call. Roaming Earth says, trying to find pieces or parts to make the water boil and steam to the box. Let's see. What have I seen? I'm nothing comes to mind at the moment. I have, PVC pipe to steam in the box. I've seen that. As far as the boiler, I'm not sure what you would use. I'm sure you could probably get some sort of electric steamer. Maybe you could use something, some sort of a pot or pan or something, maybe on a camp stove to boil the water. I don't know if that would work or not. Maybe one of those steam generator things. I don't know. The best option. Are you looking to do like a bent chair, or something with longer pieces? Because it does sound cool. There are still some things that I haven't tried yet, and that's one of them. Bending wood, steam bending wood, building an acoustic guitar, more bent wood. Roaming Earth says it's about the lid. Trying to think what might work. The lid for the pan. I wonder if you could make one. Like for I don't know. All I can think of is my little cooking pot on the stove. I wonder if you could take something like a piece of sheet metal and somehow clamp, or a piece of metal of some sort, and make some kind of a hood. Maybe a hole saw to install a PVC fitting or something, and it fits down over there. I don't know. I'm just kind of trying to brainstorm a little bit with you. Neptune's finally made it. Neptune says hello, hello. I almost forgot. Right on. Welcome. Welcome. I'm glad you didn't forget. Roaming Earth says a dog sled. A couple pieces. Oh, man, that's cool, too. Yeah, I don't know what would work the best. You might just have to get a little bit creative, and I'm sure you can come up with something. I'd have to do a little bit of research, a quick search on the old Googs, and see what, get some other ideas out there. Not sure on that one. Watch and Learn says, good morning, Jeff. What is going on? What's up, man? How are things going down your way? It's a little chilly up here this morning. Hopefully you guys are a little bit warmer down that way than we are here. Roaming Earth says, cool, thanks. Right on. Let's see. Raylan's here. Raylan says, morning. Morning, Raylan. How's it going? Happy New Year. It's crazy. I've already said it 20 times already, but New Year already. 2022. How long is it going to take for you guys is to stop writing 2021 on stuff? I'm sure, of course, all of us, we don't write the date necessarily as much as what we used to. Sending those things, checks. Remember those checks? Watch and Learn says it's on the way. Hope UPS is reliable. Right on. I will keep an eye out. Oh, one thing I forgot. Do you guys see the router bowls that I made 2 weeks ago? The little router template thingies. I'm making some new sets of those templates. So I got the 3D printer running right now. Neptunes, you made me think of it, really. That I got the 3D printer running right now. It's been running since yesterday afternoon, printing all those parts. Got to get a set of those shipped out. Mayor says, have you ever considered making some jig for fingerboard radius? You make it by hand? I've thought about that, and I've seen some of those, different router jigs that run on like the ball bearings on the little curved pieces. Um, I haven't tried it yet. I mainly use. I'm gonna see if I can fall over here. I can't even get to it. I mainly use, your standard sanding fretboard sanding blocks, but I've also made a bunch of 3D printed ones. So what I typically do is I just have, I don't know, 4 or 5 of these. These are a 12-inch radius, and I'll start out with these, and I just have them all loaded up with different grits. I don't like to stop to change these, so I'll start out with like an 80 grit, and then I'll just grab this one. Well, this one had 220 on it, but I go through all the way up to, I don't know, 600 I think I have on this one. And I usually end with one of these wooden ones. That way, if there's any inconsistencies with my 3D printed ones, I can, in the final pass, I make up for it with the wooden one. So far, I haven't found that to be true. These seem to work just fine. But by having multiples of these, and since it's 3D printed, I can make as many as I want and just have them all loaded up. It really doesn't take me all that long to radius a fingerboard. I would like to try the router, though, at some point. I've seen some cool ones where... hang on, I'm going to put these away. I've seen some made, I'm sure that you've seen them as well, where they fit over, or they fit on a large belt sander, and it swings in that radius. Those look kind of cool, too. But so far the 3D printed ones have worked fine, but those jigs are pretty cool for doing a fingerboard. I can definitely see the advantage, especially if you're batching a bunch of them out. So far, I haven't done a large batch, so just doing them by hand, it's not too bad. But in the future, like I've said, I would like to do more. Maybe do some larger batches, and I could totally see, that jig would be really sweet. Raylan says, same to you. Things have went from the big Christmas rush to 0. Oh, man. Hopefully it doesn't stay at 0. But, I think a little, everybody, especially those of you that make things, to sell or for gifts or whatever for the holidays, I think that little dip after the holidays sometimes is just a sigh of relief. At least I know, for me anyway, and I don't do a ton of, stuff that I'm selling, but I know once everything's done and things are packed up, it's kind of nice to have a few days of just, deep breath and to decompress a little bit. But I hope everything picks back up for you, because I don't want to stay to 0 for long. Neptune says, this is the first year in 52 that I actually get the year right since the first. Wow. I'm impressed. I haven't gotten it wrong yet, but I haven't had to write it on anything. I'm sure as soon as I have to write it down, I'm going to screw it up. Watch and Learn says, I really like those router bowls. Very cool. Well, thanks, man. And I will have, if anybody's interested in a set of those templates, in fact, the ones that I'm printing right now, I had a viewer of that video contact me. He didn't have a 3D printer or anything like that, so he asked me if I could, make him a set, and sure. So, if anybody needs a set, get a hold of me, and we'll work it out. Patty! Patty's here! Patty says, hello! What's up, Patty? How is everything going? Happy New Year! How are things going in your world? Starting the year off with some miles. Neptune says, I can make you another small sanding block, and then you can make them into earrings. That would be weird, dangly. So, I gotta show you guys this. I'm calling you out, Neptunes. So, Neptunes sent me If you remember the video, oh man, it was a couple months ago, where I made the jig to shape the neck on these bass guitars. Neptune's printed out those parts for me. But as a sample, he also sent me this eeny weeny tiny little radius block as a sample of one of his printers. Look how tiny it is. You know what I should do? This is my 12-inch radius block. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, but super tiny. I wonder if it's actually still 12-inch. Yeah, I don't think I need dangly. No. But how cool is that little guy? I don't know what you'd radius with it, but I should try that. Cracks me up. Oh, Watch and Learn said I'd love a set. I'll get a hold of you. Ray Lynn says this little slow time gives a chance to clean the inches of dust in the shop. Yeah, there's another advantage. You get a chance to kind of get everything back in order. You know, kind of take stock of what you know, what you have on hand, and figure out, you know, what materials and things like that that you still have. Yeah, it's a good time for cleaning, for sure. Patty says, just relaxing with a cup of tea after gluing up some old Windsor chairs I pulled out of a skip dumpster. I know what a skip is. I'm with you. That's like the it's like the car boot. I know what that is. You don't have to tell me it's a trunk. I often wondered why it's called a boot, though. Nice. Salvaging some old chairs. With some tea. Well, not tea, but coffee. Mike's here. Mike says, cleaning? Nah. Too much rain and snow to take stuff to the dump. Oh, well, there's another downside. We haven't had hardly any of that. We had a tiniest bit of snow on Christmas Eve. It all melted on Christmas Day, but there was enough on the ground that I considered it a white Christmas, even though it wasn't. It was only like on the grass, but that's it. And then we had a little bit more on New Year's Eve, and really that's all the snow we've had. Only like an inch or two, if that. But I get it. When it's all nasty and raining, you don't want to haul a truckload of junk to the dump. Watch and learn. My problem is I'm always cleaning and never getting anything done. I need a new shop. Well, I mean, I feel your pain. Sometimes we just gotta, you know, embrace it and put the shop stuff aside and put our nose down and get to work. Now, Patty is laughing at me. Oh, it's funny. Better put these tiny sanding blocks away before I lose them, because they're teeny tiny. Yeah, you know, we're talking about cleaning. I am kind of working on getting some stuff cleaned up. We got polishes and stuff because I've been working on that base body. But yeah, I got to get things cleaned up and get in. You know, jump into the next project. I think the next one I'm going to start is just a quick, simple guitar neck carving buck. I guess that's what you'd call it. The one that I've been using, yeah, it works okay, but there's some things I want to change. So I think I'm gonna make a new one and I'll share that with you guys. So I mean, if you're building guitars and stuff like that, or maybe just need some ideas for some sort of a jig, I'll kind of go through the process of the changes that I'm going to make for one. So I'll probably start on that maybe later this week. Kind of what I'm thinking. Patty says, way too mild here for snow. We've had plenty of rain. Man, I wish we would get some rain, really. Or a whole lot of snow. Problem is, typically here, when we get a lot of snow, it's usually in the form of like a blizzard. So there's 9,000 mile an hour winds. I wish it would just snow. Like 3 feet of just falling snow. That would be awesome. It's so dry here. Now, I don't know if any of you guys have heard, there's been some pretty nasty fires north of here, and it's just bad up in the Boulder area, and we really need some moisture. My heart goes out to everybody affected up there. It's just it was pretty bad, but yeah, we could use some moisture for sure. Rain, snow, whatever, as long as it doesn't come with wind. Mike says, excellent, love your jig work. Right on, Mike, thanks. I wish I could grab my old one right now. So those of you that are familiar, it's just the neck buck. I don't know if there's a technical term for it. That's the only thing I know to call it. Is just a block of wood that's made to hold. It holds the guitar neck, so you can do your filing and shaping and sanding and all that stuff. If you just lay it on the table, you can't get to the sides. So this is, just a thin, narrow piece, and you clamp the neck to the top, and it allows you access to both sides. And there's some things that I have found that mine does well, and some things that it doesn't do well. And so I'm going to kind of incorporate that into a new design. Probably not a new design, like innovative or anything, but just a new, improved design for me. And just thought I would share that with you guys and show you kind of what I'm going to incorporate, and kind of build upon that. It's also, for me, this is kind of one of those projects that it evolves. So you build one to start with, and that's what I have right now. The first one I made, and I've used it for several years, but you start to find things that it doesn't do well, and you want to change. So it's constantly evolving as you learn and decide what works and what doesn't. So that's kind of what this one's going to be. I don't think it's going to be super in depth. It's just going to be sharing some of the features. Roaming Earth says, hello again, wondering what you would suggest as a good clamping tool. Couple more details on that one. What sort of stuff are you trying to clamp? Because that will probably make a difference. And it depends on what you're clamping, how you want to clamp it. So if you can, throw a few more details in there, and we can go into that. Mike says, didn't you set up a jig using a router box? So this is for the fine work. You're right. Yes. The router. Actually, that's another one too. There's a couple changes I need to make to that router jig. So I might do that here before long too. You just reminded me. But anyway, yes, I want to have this other carving jig for the fine work, like you said, or for some reason, if I want to do one by hand, once you take it out of the router jig, there's still router marks in there that need to be sanded, and it doesn't do the transition area in the heel as well as into the headstock. So you still need to carve those areas and get everything shaped, final sanding, all that sort of stuff. So it's going to be really nice to have an improved jig to put the neck on for that. But you're right. I do have a router jig designed to rough carve the neck. I need to do some more fine tuning on it in order to get it down to where it's like dead on. So right now I just leave everything a little bit over where I need to be, and then I fine tune it all by hand, sanding, carving, all that sort of stuff. But the router jig removes the bulk of the material, I just have to finish it by hand. Patty says, yeah, I was thinking of you when I saw about those fires. Glad all is good where you are too. Well, thanks, Patty. I definitely appreciate that. We're about an hour and a half south from where those were taking place, and so yeah, there was no threat or anything here from those, but yeah, I appreciate that. Raylene says, I need another woodworker to help me organize my organized, chaotic shop flow. Well, we are all here. How can we help? You mean locally? Someone locally, I'm guessing? Mike says, could you sometime go over the tools you use for the carving? Yeah. I mean, I could give you a high level right now. I don't have them in front of me, so it's not going to really be much of a show and tell. But that would be kind of a fun video, really. Kind of tools for carving a guitar neck. Thanks for that suggestion. But really high level, the very main one that I use is the Shinto rasp. You guys have probably seen, if you've seen me carve a neck, you've seen me use the Shinto. You've probably seen other people use it. It's basically, how do we describe it? Like a series of hacksaw blades, really, that are assembled in kind of a grid, and it's about 1.5 inches maybe wide. Inch wide? 1.5 inches? 2 inch? I don't know. It's over an inch anyway, I'm sure of that. And you use it just like you would a file or a regular rasp, but man, they work good. They're not even really that expensive. They're quite inexpensive, I feel, for how well they work. That's my number one tool. Even after I carve something on the router jig, most of the time I'm going to grab that Shinto rasp and I'm going to use the fine side. There's two sides. There's like a coarse side and a finer side, and use that to fine tune everything. And man, they work good. It's one of those things that I wish I would have thought of that. But that's my main tool. And then from there, I'll switch to some different finer rasps and even just fine files. A coarse round file and a finer round file. That was kind of almost a tongue twister. Those work really good. I use those for doing a lot of the transition areas where I need something to, transition into the heel. But just an assortment of coarse and fine rasps. Something that I don't have yet that I would like to try, or I think they're called like a dragon rasp. I've heard good stuff about those, but I don't have any. I don't personally have any of those. But mainly the Shinto and some different grits of wood rasps. And then it's sanding, and more sanding. But yeah, that's a good call. I think we could put together a little video on that. That'd be kind of fun. Just some of the stuff that I use. I've used a spoke shave before, and I love using a spoke shave. Unfortunately, for some reason, I don't like it for guitar necks. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's maybe mine. Maybe I need to sharpen mine even more. But I never seem to get quite the results that I'm hoping for when I use a spoke shave. Again, that may have nothing to do with the spoke shave. It may be totally my experience with it. But the Shinto rasp, man, I can't recommend those enough. Paul's here. Paul says hello. Sorry I'm late. No worries, Paul. Welcome. Happy New Year. Raylan says local would be preferred. It's 12 by 24. Only one person can work in it. Where's the router bowl jig link? I can't find it. If you go to my website, homebuiltworkshop.com, click on the downloads at the top, I think, or maybe it says free downloads, something like that, and it's gonna be right there. You'll see it, and you can just click on it and you'll download. It's gonna be a zip file. It's gonna have 3 STL files in there, and then like a little readme, just some notes and things that I wanted to make sure to pass along. And if you can't find it for some reason or it doesn't work, then I got to fix it. But that's where it should be. Patty says Japanese saw rasp is a great tool. I have 2 in my tool bag. I'm gonna have to get some of those. Wait, is that a Shinto? Is that what you're talking about? Does it have like the burgundy handle? Neptunes, bam! Look at that right there with the link. So if you go to the link, I'm pointing at it, but you guys probably aren't even seeing in the same spot. So you can hit that up, click on the free downloads button, or go to the link where I posted it, and there's a link in there to the same file, or in the link to the video description. Will take you to the same spot. But if it doesn't work, I'm gonna have to double check it. Last time I tested it, it was working just fine, but hopefully it didn't crash on me. Paul says, so you don't do the chainsaw blade on your angle grinder method? You ain't living until one of those things gets loose on you. Negative. Negative, sir. I will never use one of those. I don't know if you guys have seen sort of a recent video where a popular woodworking blogger guy got hurt by one of those things. Whew. No thanks, I don't need it. Raylan says, thanks, Neptune. Oh, there's Neptunes with the links to the downloads. Bam! Thanks, dude. Look at that. Neptune says downloads do work. Okay, cool. Thanks for confirming. I got worried for a minute. Started second guessing myself. I'm like, I know I tested it, but... okay, let's see. Patty says, have you used any of the small Swedish draw knives for fine work rather than a spoke shave? No. I don't even know if I've seen a small Swedish draw knife. Where can I find more? I'm going to have to search that. Dude, that sounds cool. I do have, I have a draw knife. It's, I don't know, 8 inches. I've used that a couple of times just to experiment, and you can rough out some material with it, but the small one sounds awesome. I'm going to have to look into that. And it does finer work than a spoke shave. You have piqued my interest. Harry Dude says, what about carving a neck with a flap disc on an angle grinder? Pretty sure I've seen someone do that. I think I have too. I've just not tried it. I might have to. I do have a couple of pine blanks. I think I made them way back when I was working on that the router jig. I did cut some neck blanks out of just some pine just to use some for testing. I should try that. I do have a few flap discs. That would be kind of cool. I have not tried it though, but I don't see why you couldn't, really. Use a really coarse one to rough it out. I would, man, you'd have to wear a serious respirator or work outside. And actually, that's something else that I've wanted to do for quite a while. I'd wanted to have some sort of outside jig where I could basically clamp the neck buck to, go outside, do the filing, shaping, all that stuff, and not have to worry about the cleanup. And that would sure work good for an angle grinder deal. Paul says, I took one look at those attachments at Harbor Freight and thought about it and said no. Yeah, those things are a disaster. And I've seen several videos on that, and you guys may have as well, where, you know, they're pretty dang dangerous, really, for what they are. And, you know, they market them towards, you know, beginning woodworkers, newbies, you know, that sort of thing, who maybe don't have a lot of experience even with a angle grinder. And then you put one of those death wheels on there, and good man, they're just, I've seen how they can grab and throw, and you guys don't ever use one, I'm telling you. It's you know, they're bad. So if you've ever been thinking about one of those chainsaw wheels for your grinder, don't do it. I would rather carve it with a pocket knife than use those things. Be safe, guys. Those things are too dangerous. I'm not saying you guys are being unsafe, but I'm passing along that word of caution in case you were considering it. I don't recommend them. Paul says, I have a draw knife, spoke shave, and Shinto rasp. Love all of them. I also have router bits for neck and fingerboard profiles. I've thought about trying those router bits for the fretboards. Or is it the necks? I can't remember. Whatever that company is, out of Australia that sells them. They look really cool. I just haven't jumped in to do it yet. I still kind of like doing it by hand, although it does sort of stress me out. I don't know about you, Paul, but I'm always, if I'm shooting for a measurement, you got to know where to stop for a certain thickness, and then once you sand it, to hit your measurement, it stresses me out sometimes. Paul says, I use flap disc for contouring bodies, but they take off too much wood to trust it with a neck profile. Can't add wood back. Yeah. I could see that for an arm bevel, or something like that. But still, even when I do a belly carve, I grab my Shinto and I rough out as much of it as I can with that before moving on to more files and then block sanding. And really, it's not that bad. But again, I'm not doing, if I was doing a dozen at a time, I would definitely look for ways to speed that up a little bit. And router bits and that sort of thing are definitely, flap discs are a good way to do that. Mike says, P.S. Love my spoke shave. I like mine too. Oh, wait. Mike says, hey, take care, need to get back to work. Take care, stay safe and healthy. Right on you too, Mike. Thanks for tuning in. Happy New Year, man. Patty says, I'll see if I can find a link and send it to you. Bought mine out of a German woodwork catalog. That would be cool. Yeah, I like the spoke shave. I like using it. I love the feel. It kind of, you just feel kind of old school, maybe. But there's a certain, I don't know. It gives you a good feeling using it. Especially if you have some old ones. I don't have any new ones. Mine are all the old. I have a couple old Stanleys and an old. I almost think it might be homemade, but I bought it at a secondhand antique store kind of thing, and it's really cool too. I don't use that one much because I got to sharpen it up, but yeah, there's just something cool about using a spoke shave, and I just don't use it much for guitar necks. Roaming Earth says, yes, I like your skills. Been watching for, it's always nice to learn. I mush dogs in the north now on the east side of Canada. Was once a simple finish carpenter in the city. Now I play with logs. Oh man, that's cool. That's awesome. A dog sled. So you're going to build the sleds that you're going to use. Man, that's so cool. That's awesome. That would be fun. I would like to visit the far north. I think that would be pretty cool. Where it actually gets snow in winter. And Neptune said, someone did a video on the safety of those. Can't remember who did it. The one that I'm thinking of was made by Stumpy Nubs. I don't know if you guys have seen him. I don't know him or anything like that. But he ended up getting hurt fairly bad on one of those things. And he's done a couple videos. But I've seen other people do that as well. Roaming Earth says, thanks for sharing knowledge. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And that's kind of what we do. And try to share with you guys, kind of what we're working on, and hopefully help advance the whole building things and having fun just making something with your hands. There's a no, I'm not going to be on a tangent. Sorry. There's a giant satisfaction that one gets from building something with their hands, right? From getting out there and doing something. And now I don't care if it's making a cake, if it's making a guitar, if it's making a toy for your children, if it's building something, a simple shelf for a house, or some elaborate, dresser thing. I can't even think of the name of them, but no matter what it is, from the simplest to the most complex, the fact that we get out there and we build things with your hands that somehow helps you or your family or becomes a gift for someone else, you just can't beat it. And I want to encourage everybody to get out there and don't be held back by not having the latest and greatest thing. You can build so many things with a handsaw and a little bit of wood glue, really, and maybe a little sandpaper. I don't want anybody to feel like, oh, I can't do that because I don't have all this stuff. Yes, a lot of us have different things other than a handsaw and some wood glue, but if that's all you have, you can still make cool stuff. And I just want to encourage everybody to make something. I don't care if it's a block of wood with a hole drilled in the top that you can put on your desk and stick your pencil in there. Once you go out there and make it and you're using it on your desk, that's awesome. But I will always try to do my best to help encourage everybody, and I want to see everybody building things. It's not only good for your soul, which I truly believe it is, it's also good for the environment, right? You're gonna, even if you take some old broken something and you turn it into something else, right? So it's repurposing. Anyway, had to get that out. Paul says, had to get the router bits. Got carpal tunnel, hand contouring, necks, and fingerboards. Oh, I don't think there's anything wrong with them at all. Whatever we can do to make our job easier, a lot of times there's a tool out there for it that may work better than the way we're doing it. Sometimes, we can find a way to incorporate it. Sometimes it doesn't make sense, but yeah, it's just nice having all of this stuff basically at our fingertips anymore. You want to order a router bit to shape a, to carve a, certain neck profile, a couple of clicks, and off it goes from another country to you. It's pretty cool, really. Raylan says, when I open it, there's nothing there. Really? I wonder why. Raylan, I will fix that. Not right this second. If I had a laptop, I would fix it right now. Give me a few minutes after this live is over with. Maybe 30 minutes at the most, and I'll fix it. As soon as we're done, I'll head in and I'll re-upload. I wonder if something got corrupted. Has anybody else, have you guys tried that and downloaded the file and it's not there? My apologies. Neptunes, are the STLs there? Paul says, hey Jeff, are you in for the GGBO this year? Appreciating the correspondence through Instagram. Paul, at Richard's Custom Guitars. Right on. I've been pondering that for the last few days. Well, probably about the last week or so. I think I'm going to do it. I haven't 100% convinced myself yet. But I think I am. I've got some ideas of what I might do. I think probably. Don't hold me to that. But how's that for a non-clear answer? I probably might think I will do it. I got to get a couple of templates, so I need to get on that if I'm gonna do what I want to do. I think. See, I still can't be decisive. And no problem, man. If you feel free to hit me up on there. I am not on the Instagram every single day, every single minute or whatever. So if I take a moment to get back to you, don't worry about it. I try to post on there as much as I can, but I don't think, what am I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say. I don't post every single day like I want to, so I'm not always going in there. But if you guys want to hit me up on there, that's totally cool. So that's the long and short answer, Paul. I kind of sort of think I might be in the GGBO. Most likely I will. Oh, I just realized that. We got a couple Pauls there. Paul Waldrop says, new channel name for YouTube, Woodworking for Your Soul. That, you know, if you just did projects and you had some kind of tranquil music playing, it probably would do pretty good. James says, I built a 4x7 bookshelf out of oak from the hardware store with no experience. Now I'm getting into making stuff. Yes! Man, that is so awesome. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Just go do it, right? I know a lot of times somebody, you know, you'll see somebody using all of these fancy schmancy tools, which is cool and all, you know, in this super high-tech shop, showing you how to build a bookshelf, and you're looking at that going, you got a handsaw and a drill. Don't get sucked into that. James, that is awesome. I love it. It's exactly what I'm talking about. You don't have to go to the fancy hardwood store and get the super expensive, exotic, whatever. You go to the hardware store, buy some wood, make something cool for your family, for your home, for others, whatever it is. Ah, that's awesome. Man, thanks for sharing that. It just made my day. Neptune says, just downloaded it. STLs are there. So Raylin, whatever file you downloaded, you're going to have to extract it. It's going to be a zip file. You may have done that or not. I don't know, but you're gonna want to right click on that and say extract all, and that'll pop up another folder on your desktop or wherever you save your downloads, and they should be inside that. So right inside the zip file, most likely it won't show up, but you got to make sure you extract that zip file. Paul says, I want to do GGBO, but still no YouTube channel. Just start one. You don't even have to do regular videos on there. Is just a placeholder for your GGBO entries, and you don't even have to do a series. You can do one video on the whole thing. And you know, if it's like last year, it's going to run from probably February to the end of June. So you got plenty of time to put an instrument together. And you know, if you didn't want to do a bunch of them, just make one video and submit it at the end. I'm challenging you to do it. Hold on. Got to get ready here. So, gloves, challenged. Isn't that how you challenge somebody? Anyway, Paul says, all in favor of Jeff entering, say aye. Watch and Learn says, can you enter an acoustic in the GGBO? I think so, yes. Somebody did last year. Yes. I challenge you as well. Philip says, I'm always using the excuse it's too cold since my shop is basically my back porch. Keep saying if I could get me an indoor spot, I would do more. I always hate myself for not doing anything. Philip, you know what? I totally get that. Yeah, some of us live in a cold climate, and if you don't have a shop and you normally work outside, dude, I understand that. I mean, that's really hard to do. So I would say don't feel bad about that. But you know, maybe you could work on planning projects for the springtime. Maybe work on, I don't know, you know, designing some plans and preparing ahead of time. I think there's still things that you could do. But I totally understand, and I can relate. You know, there's some things that I have to do outside, and I just, you know, when it's snowy and nasty out, I get it. I totally get it. You know, but I think that there's still things that you could find to do. Like I said, even if it's preparation for projects, you know, you could start maybe getting materials. if you have a place, to store them ahead of time or something. I don't know, but I'm sure there's stuff you could work on. Maybe it's even just doing a course, or you're watching a bunch of videos about a task or something that you've been wanting to try. Start learning now. But I totally understand what you're saying. I get it. And that can be a challenge. But try to look for other things that you might be able to do. But don't feel bad. Don't feel bad because you don't have a shop or something like that. If you work outside, like I said, I really, really do understand. But just look for other stuff. I bet you can find something, maybe it's learning it. Even maybe it's carving. You can get the little carving knives and carve some little ducks or something. I don't know. I'm just trying to think. Maybe give you some other suggestions that things you can do. I mean, it's been a long time since I've carved something, but I only say duck because that was the last thing I carved years ago. A little wooden duck. You're just sitting there taking off little chips. I mean, you could almost sit on the couch, maybe over a paper or a trash bag or something. You know what I mean? And just get creative. You can find something. And if not, spring's coming. Spring's coming. Don't feel bad. Let's see. Neptune says, Raylan, did you unzip the folder first? Raylan says it just says Pickbull base, and there are 4 of them, and it says standard tessellated geometry file form. What? That's very strange. I mean, I could email them to you if you want to send me an email. homebuiltshop@gmail. That's interesting. Paul says, we can't all afford Festool. You got that right, man. And they've kind of... Well, you guys know. Some people are like all Festool everything. And yeah. Even the hype over the Festool, I'm sure they're wonderful tools. I have no doubt. But just the hype over them is almost... I don't even know if I want to say this. It's almost turned me to not be interested in them. Does that make any sense? I've never used them. I have 0 experience. But it's just, there's a weird aura around them. Neptune says to Raylan, I'm not sure how you're getting that. Yeah, me neither. Paul says, LOL, let me talk to my son. He's a YouTuber and is always wanting to film me in the shop. There you go. Just have him come out. Maybe you just do, come out when you're making the body, come out when you're making the neck, and then have them put it all together. If it's like last year, you've got to hit that 15-minute max mark on the build video, which is kind of hard to get the whole entire build in there. So you got to kind of condense where you can. I think when I did mine, I did revision after revision, and I got it to exactly 15 minutes. It might have even been 14:59, but I got it down like as close as I could. And but yeah, you could do it, man. I know you could. Yeah, like I said, even if it's just for this one video or couple videos or whatever. If you want to enter the GGBO, don't let that hold you back. Just you can come up with it. You can make it work. Get your son to help, and be a piece of cake. Watch and Learn says, how do you enter GGBO? Neptune's through the link up there. Kapow! And I believe it won't be until February 1st, I think, is when it's going to go live, and you'll be able to enter. There's a fee, an entry fee. I don't know what any of that is yet. Last year, I think it was like $25 or something like that, plus extra if you wanted the shirt. And of course, who doesn't want the shirt? They could change this year. Don't quote me on that number because I haven't seen the amount. But yeah, just go to greatguitarbuildoff.com and should have details there. I actually haven't been there this year yet to see. Burnaby's here. Burnaby says, Happy New Year's, folks. Happy New Year's. Happy New Year to you. Welcome to 2022. Paul says, Festool is almost cultric. Yeah, it is. And it's... I'm not saying anything bad about them because I don't believe that's the case at all. But there's just that weird like you said, Coltrick. There's just something about it that, I don't know. Let's move on. I'm not trashing them at all. I don't want that to appear the case because I think they're probably amazing. Raylan says, sorry, I uncompressed it and there's nothing still after the show. Yeah, I'll double check as well. So we'll figure this out. Neptune says, festival hype is like Apple. Just kidding, Apple owners. I do have one. I only have one Apple product, and that's this iPad right here. And I bought that for one specific reason years ago. I bought this only for, I was playing in a cover band, and we used in-ear monitors. And at the time, the only app that would allow me to control that was Apple. They've since moved to new apps that I can run on Android. But so I had to buy this because the app was only on the Apple. Rack Make says, hi, how much square feet in your shop? About 110-ish. It's pretty small. Not a lot of space. Somewhere around 100, 110. That's my roughest guess. I also have to share some space with house storage, so there's Christmas decorations in boxes in the corner, that sort of thing. But it's pretty small. Watch and Learn says, I'm going to try it. Do it, man. Who wants to hold the camera? Just use your phone. Get a little goosenecky phone thingy and, yeah, that's all you need to do. Alexander James, hello, what's up? Alexander says, I'm starting on my build in a week or two. Oh, cool. Alexander says, I'm thinking of buying a pre-made neck, a blank headstock, but I still want custom inlays. Any advice? How difficult is it to make a neck from scratch? I mean, how easy is it? How easy is it to make a bad mistake? Well, it's pretty easy to make a bad mistake. I mean, with anything, really. But I would say overall, it's not that hard to build. But there's some steps that you need to make sure you understand along the way. And that's, basically the main one is getting your fretboard slots in the right spot. Getting the truss rod installed, if you're going to use a truss rod. And then carving, and carving's, I mean, it's easy to carve a piece of wood, but you need to be careful not to carve too deep, or you risk carving into your truss rod channel. You want to get the shape comfortable, which is pretty easy to do. I work off a couple templates, but a lot of a feel. I just, hold the neck and I, kind of feel where it feels a little weird. And are you talking about, are you doing a build, just a regular personal build, or are you doing like a Great Guitar Build-Off type of build? I would suggest, though, before I even see what your answer is to that, I would suggest that if it's just a personal build and it's your very first one, buy a pre-made neck. It may sound counterintuitive to encouraging everybody to to jump in and build stuff, but that's exactly what I did. Okay, you said a personal one. My very first build, in fact, my very first 3 guitar builds that I did, I used a pre-made neck. And my focus was solely on the body, building the body, getting things in the right spot. Then I can bolt the neck on and finish putting it together. Then how I progressed into building necks was from there, I'd already had a decent amount of experience building several bodies. I decided to build some cigar box guitars where I could build basically the simplest neck possible. There's no truss rod. Then I could focus on, drilling the tuner holes and then cutting the fret slots and fretting it. And I'm thinking, it's a cigar box guitar. If I screw up a fret location or something, maybe it's not that big a deal, right? And then I got some experience, radiusing the fretboard, installing the frets and all that. By then, I felt good enough or I felt confident enough anyway, not good enough. I felt confident enough that I'd already done frets. I'd already, shaped a basic neck. I've already built some bodies. I can just throw everything together and move on to making my own necks. and that's how I progressed into it. But I would truly suggest for a personal build, your first project, just buy a pre-made neck, and you know, you can find them online. They're not super expensive. In fact, there's probably some people in here that may even make some. But that would be my suggestion. You get it all together and you string it up and you play it, and you're like, man, I just basically built this. You know, I didn't make the neck, but you put the whole guitar together. You built the body. You still, it's awesome. It really is. That would be my suggestion. And then after you do the first one, maybe two, then jump into trying a neck. You know, maybe do a test piece on, you know, some scrap wood or something. Neptune says Jeff's shop is in a refrigerator box. Not far off. Raylan says, I sent you an email. Okay, I'll check it as soon as we're done. Rex says, this channel deserves at least 100,000 subs. Well, thank you. And you know what? You guys can help that out. Make sure, if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And another challenge. Share it with everybody. No, it would be awesome. If we can hit 100,000, man, that would be so cool. And we can. But I need you guys' help. Share the channel, hit the subscribe button, and I appreciate all of you guys for watching the videos, for hanging out in the lives, and you know, for all of your support. I'm so thankful going into this year, 2022, and thank you guys. You guys are awesome. I couldn't even be where we are right now without you guys, and I truly am thankful for each and every one of you guys. So Rack Makes, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And share it. Share the channel. Burnaby says remember to share and like. There you go. Right on. Awesome. Thank you guys. Yes, we're going to be wrapping this up here shortly because the time, we are past the time, which is okay. But yeah, hit that thumbs up button before we end this out. And then share the channel with all of your friends and non-friends and everybody. No. I can't do it without you guys. Super thankful. Paul says, necks used to scare me. Tons of videos on how to do it, how to make jigs, etc. Take it slow, should be fine. Yeah, yep. That was exactly why I decided to step my way into building a neck, because I was terrified of making it. I'm like, well, you know, what if I screw this up? What if I screw that up? Well, really, in the big scheme of things, what if you do? So what? Really? I mean, it sucks because I don't, you know, you don't like to, I don't like to waste a piece of wood or waste hours and hours of time, but really, I mean, I've taken guitar bodies and I've sliced them in half on the bandsaw because something chipped out on the side, and you know, I've definitely wasted several things. I've got a stack of scrap necks that I can't use for whatever reason. A couple of them are usable still, but it's not something that I would want to sell. I would use it as a, you know, just maybe a personal project or something like that because of some blemish. But yeah, don't be afraid. Do your homework, learn what you can, practice what you can. But you know, at some point, you're gonna be like, I got this. Alexander says, thank you very much. You're welcome. Watch and Learn says, acoustic necks are a little more detailed than electric. Yeah, you got that heel joint and all that stuff in there, but it's a neck. No, I don't know. I have no clue about the, you know, that whole heel thingy. Now, Paul says, I built my own fret cutting jig, truss rod channel jig, and some other jigs templates through the necks I make. Yeah. I didn't build my own fret cutting jig. You know, I did purchase one of those miter boxes, but yeah, the, you know, truss rod routing sled jig. I mean, this is mine. It does not get any simpler than this. I mean, if it does, I don't know how. I double stick tape this sucker down on my center line, and my router rides in here. This is perfect size of my base plate. Adjustable jig here, so I can set the end of it. And that's it. So yeah, you could just build, you know, simple jigs things to help you be more accurate and help your workflow. Alexander says, my main goal is to make a guitar that has a custom look and sound. It's why I want to build in the first place. Yes. And yeah, you can do it. And even on your first one, you'll be able to do this. Even if you buy a pre-made neck, you can still do all of the custom body shapes and all that stuff. Paul says, so when you hit 100K, is there a guitar giveaway? I'd almost be okay with that. Hadn't thought about it, but we could probably come up with something. The 100K giveaway. We'll start thinking about that when we get up into the 90,000s. But I think we could. I think we could do that. That'd be actually kind of fun. We hit about 90,000, we start building. That'd be fun. I'm down with that. Neptune says, there you go, great idea. Alexander says, that's a great idea, especially if I win. I'm all for that idea. So, the quicker we can hit 100,000. I challenge you. Wait. I challenge you. Let's do it. Rack says, I can wind the pickups. You make pickups? Maybe we need to have a talk. I'm down. Neptune says, actually, if you start promoting it now, you can get your 100K faster. That's a good call. Harry Dude says, 100K giveaway guitar. Specs voted on by subscribers. Ooh, I like it. I'm going to have to start setting up a page, a voting page or something. I like it, guys. I am down for that idea. I am down for it. We'll do it. Great, now I gotta Watch and Learn says, I will donate a guitar. Well, that would be cool too. Maybe it's a 2 guitar giveaway. Oh man, we just upped the game by 2. I like it. Though that's a great idea. You guys vote on this, on the specs, what it's going to be, and yeah, that'd be cool. Watch and Learn says, in fact, I will build it on my channel. So he's going to build a guitar, and we give it away. We might be able to do that too. Wow, this is escalated quickly. I like it. I'm all for it, guys. If you guys think you guys would be interested in that, and we can go through a little build series on building whatever it is, I'm down. But on that note, we're going to wrap this up. And yeah, we will carry this and drop. I'm almost ready to knock clamps on the floor. We will continue this conversation at a later date. But yeah, guys, wrap this up. I gotta figure out what's going on with this file for Raylin. I don't know what the deal is, but we'll get to the bottom of it. And thank you guys for tuning in. I want to wish you guys again a happy 2022. Happy New Year to everyone. And we're off to a start. And I'm really excited that this year is going to be awesome, I think. And I'm excited to see what's in store. So, guys, make sure you hit that thumbs up button on this video and hit that subscribe button. If you're not already subscribed, we'll do the 100K giveaway. There, I've said it. There's no backing out now. So, right on. Paul says, I have some beautiful cedar I can send you for the build. Ooh, that might be cool. Gina's here. Right as we're wrapping up. We've gone a little late because we've been having a good conversation, but yeah, glad you made it. As we hang up. Paul says, have a great day. See you next week. Right on, Paul. Alexander, Happy New Year. Alexander says, got a feel 2022 is going to be a good year. Yes, it is. It is going to be a great year. Harry Dude says, cheers, folks. Stay well. Alexander, it's all good, man. It's all good. Right on, guys. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and stay safe, stay well. Happy New Year, and we will see you next time. Later, guys. Oh, look, I hit the button and it didn't end. Let's try this again. See you later.